joining us. We're streaming on Twitter, Periscope, and YouTube. So wherever you are, you should be able to catch us this morning. And as you can see, I'm very casual. I'm wearing my sweats, right? Because we live in a casual world. So it's not very often that we get to do this. But you know what? Times have changed. I remember when I first started on radio. I was quite the executive. I mean, I was decked out, dressed in suits and all kinds of stuff. Let me see who's giving me a shout out over here. Hey, good morning, all fire and stuff. And so what happened was, as I moved through it, gosh, I'll never be satisfied, right? And what happened is, as I got more and more involved in it, the society has changed. People are a lot less, how shall I say it, a lot less tuck up and a lot less rigid in how we dress, as opposed to how we, oops, as opposed to how we dress today. So I probably messed something up, as you can tell. No, I just turned the camera the other way. Okay, so for those of you joining me on Periscope and Twitter, you might have seen something else. So uh, forgive me for a while. For a minute there, I wasn't sure what was going on, but you can see me, right? You can see me. Periscope, yeah, you can still see me. I'm trying to angle the camera. Oh well. So anyway, so we are talking about today's International Women's Day. So shout out to all the awesome women of the world. Yay to all the awesome women who get up every day. And many of us will never get a medal, will never get a community award, will never be able to speak on a platform, but we have a platform in our homes every day that we use to speak from. And that's what we're celebrating. We're celebrating the contributions of women without whom the world would not be a better place. So no matter what someone says, no matter what people say, that people are not doing anything, that's not true. We are saying women do contribute, right? And we can't do without women. We are the carriers of life. We're the givers of life. We give life. We carry babies in our bodies and we nurse children. So never underestimate uh, the contributions of women. So shout out to all the women, all the world, in the world, who are doing more than their very best. Often people don't know what it costs us to do what we do. People don't know what it costs me, for instance, to do this broadcast every day. People don't know the journey or the cost of the journey to get me to this point. People don't know what it costs you to be you. People don't know that most women who are mothers, and even when we're not wives, we're the last ones to go to bed at night. It's only the last, to be honest with you, it's only the last 4 weeks that I literally had to tell myself to start going to bed early, to clock out at 8 o'clock and go lay down. Typically, a woman in the home is the last person to go to bed. She makes sure it's ready and organized for tomorrow. They did no dishes in the sink. The clothes are organized. The children are ready to go. The husband is ready to go. If there's a husband or a man in the home or a partner in the home, she makes sure that the meals are organized for tomorrow, who is doing what. She has the logistics of coordinating transportation, who needs to be where at what time. Who We are amazing as women. The way we stand there and figure stuff out. Have you ever wondered how you do this? I mean, we have logistics down pat because people need to be in different places at different times, and woo, we got that right. The way we plan and strategize. Well, so you need a $250 for this project, but we have this other thing coming up. So why don't we push something back? Budget and budgeting and strategizing all day. It is no wonder why women are great at leadership. We are quick. The children are fighting. We are quick to identify what the problem is, nail it, solve it, move on to the next one. So I say all of this to say, shout out to all the women. We are the true unsung heroes. We're the ones who never get applauded. Some of us barely get a happy Mother's Day. Yeah. Some of us barely get, oh, well, thank you. And when they have grown up and they are gone to college, you're lucky if you get somebody to come back and tell you thank you. Right? So I want to celebrate all women today. It's International Women's Day. And if you're a woman, from me to you, thank you for your contribution. Thank you so very much for what you do. I may not be impacted by what you do, but your family are impacted by what you do. And I want to thank you. If they don't say thank you, I want to say thank you for your contribution to your family that keeps your family going. I also want to say thank you to myself, right? Thank you to all the marvelous women I know. I'm going to give some of them a shout out. Elaine Flowers, Linda Lee Tarver, those are my people, right? But there are so many other women. There's Millie Hall, who is president of the Coalition of Labor Union Women. There are so many other women who are amazing at what you do, continuing to provide services not just to your family, but also to your community, to the community at large. Many women are volunteers. You'll never hear their names on a roll call. But I'm a firm believer that when you get to heaven, that's where your reward will be. Even if you don't get your reward here, I am a firm believer that you will be acknowledged, right? And this is why I believe in giving people their accolades while they're still yet here, right? I believe that we should celebrate women. I believe that we should celebrate people who have done great things. I have learned through hard times that hard times don't last, but tough people do. Tough times don't last, but tough people do. And I have learned to celebrate those who have stopped by in my life to talk to me, to mentor me, to explain something to me, to take time out to demonstrate leadership, and to take time out to show me a better way of doing stuff. You probably have heard me talk about my mentor, Dawn Heron, who is no longer with us. She's been gone since February 14th of 1996. For years, I had Valentine's days that were just unbelievable. And I can still remember where I was when I got the phone call on Valentine's Day 1996 that she was gone. And it took my breath away. She was my mentor and surrogate mother for about 10 years of my life while I was married. And I couldn't believe when it was over. She poured a lot into me. She pushed me into my destiny. She told me that I had to go to church and I had to go get saved and I had to have a relationship with Jesus Christ. She asked me to promise her those three things: that I will divorce my then husband, and that I would go get therapy after her death. She says, "You're going to need therapy after I'm gone. Go get therapy." And so she died 4 days later. So 4 days prior to, when she tells you that, it's impactful and it's meaningful. But I'll never forget the conversations we had. She was always there. It took me about 2 years to stop dialing her number. In fact, her husband died 9 months before her. And when she died, her brother kept her number for 2 years just because. And it took me 2 years. I would still dial her number just to hear her voicemail. Sometimes the phone would just ring and ring, just to get a perspective. She was one of those persons who gave me a perspective. So even though she's no longer here, I celebrate her. And while she was here, I told her how important she was to me. And then, of course, after she passed away, then there were other people who got planted in my life. It's been Elaine Flowers for a couple of years now. So I celebrate Elaine. I never cease to tell her how much of an impact she made on me. She has made on me, or she is making on me, right? So I never fail. Elaine is not someone who is big on gifts. So giving her the gift of your time and attention is more valuable to her than buying her a gift. You can send her on a vacation. That doesn't mean anything. She's done that. But giving her the gift of my time and attention and calling her is everything. So then there was my first boss, June Wright, who taught me business. That's where I learned business strategies, how to interface with people at different levels in business, right? How to be a woman in business. She is my role model. right? How to talk to different people at different levels, how to interface with the banks, how to ask the bank for a loan, right? How to speak to other business partners and so on. I learned that from June Wright, and she's the one person whom I never went back and said thank you. And by the time I figured out that I needed to tell her thanks, it was too late. I could not reach her. I still have never been successful at finding her. So wherever she is today, June Wright, I want to say thank you because she molded me into the businesswoman I am. She taught me and showed me how to approach business meetings, how to walk into a boardroom, how to talk to the people who sit at the table in a boardroom, how to discuss, how to ask for what you want when you go to negotiate. So those were the people who went before me. How to deal with men of different ethnicities and of different race, and how to rotate amongst them so that you don't end up in trouble, right? How to navigate, because they're still men, they're still going to look at you and smile with you, but how to make sure you walk out of the room with your self-esteem still intact and your self-esteem not tethered, not in tethers, right? How to say no with a smile. Still, no, I'm not going to have dinner. We're really here to talk about this. But I really want to get this contract signed. I think there's some merit to the contract, kind of thing, right? So she taught me all of that. So shout out to all of them, because somehow I keep saying this to everyone. You didn't just get here. We none of us ever just arrive here. We are standing on the shoulders of someone. No, good to see you. Hey, it's good to see you too. Good to see you. Good to see you. Yes, yes, good to see you. And I feel you. Do you see where I'm coming from? None of us got here. We didn't just get here. We're standing on someone's shoulders. Someone paid the price for us to be here. And sometimes we overlook that. We tend to think that I arrived here looking and getting here on my own. That's not true, right? It's much like I'm looking at the camera, and the camera is making me look like I'm 20 pounds heavier than I am. And if you were to see me in person, you'd be like, whoa, okay. So it's a misrepresentation of the facts. The truth is, none of us got here, are here because we just got here. We're standing on the shoulders of someone. And sometimes we need to take time out to say a soft and a quiet thank you, even to our ancestors, the women who birthed us, the women who have gone before, the ones who put up with discrimination, the ones who put up with racism, the ones who put up with sexism, the ones who were sexually assaulted quietly, the ones who were enslaved for their slave labor and enslaved for their sexuality. We need to still say thank you to those. To even the ones we don't like, but we learned something from. One of the things I have learned is that there are a lot of people who will never say hello to me because they'll never come to my face and let me know how much of an impact I've had on them. But they might smile, but they will tell someone else how much they admire you. So even to them, I still say hello, right? There are people who, some of you may never even meet me in person. You may never even talk to me. But just to know that we're standing on the shoulders of someone. Someone has learned a lesson that they have passed on to us, that we must say thank you. So on this day, say thank you to the women who have done great things. Thank you to the women in Congress. You have no idea the sexism and racism that women encounter. Yes, white women encounter sexism. Sometimes they encounter classism. More often than not, sometimes even racism. Sometimes they're just classified, you're just a woman. So I've been told by white women that sometimes the only reason why they enter into a room is because they're white. I met a white woman who, I can't name the organization she was part of. She was VP of Human Resources. I encountered her a few years ago. She had just turned 54 and she left the corporate world. She said she just walked away from it. And she had everything. I mean, she had security, she had everything. And I said, why? And she said, because I'm a woman. And she said, when she enters a boardroom, they remind her that she's a woman. And secondly, they tell her the only reason she's in that boardroom is because she's white, because we don't let anyone else in. And she said after a while, she just couldn't take it anymore. So she walked away and went to work for a nonprofit. and volunteered her time for 6 months because she said she needed to de-stress and get out of it. So every woman does encounter stuff. Some women, in order for them to get on TV to be an anchor, guess what? They had to go down on their knees and kiss some guys' sexual apparatus. Women pay a price. Some of these women in Hollywood today, if they would only tell the truth of what they had to do in order for them to get the first role, the major breakthrough role, in order for them to even get subsequent roles after that, it's after a while that they got so huge that they could say to someone, if you dare speak to me like that, if you dare say that to me, I'll go public with what you've just said. And because they have such a huge influence now that they can command that and people will believe them and actually disregard what the other person has done, is why they don't go public. But before, initially, a lot of women in Hollywood will tell you what they had to go through in order to become who they are. They didn't start out being Angelina Jolie. They started out being some girl with crooked teeth and had really thick lips. They called her nigger lips at one point. Did you know that, right? And she was real slim and skinny. So she had this face with these big lips, and she was just made skinny. Now people, she's naturally skinny today, but she was always that way. Do you see what I'm saying? And the price that people have to pay, the price that black women in Hollywood. It was Alfred Woodard some years ago who said she lived in the same community in Los Angeles for 20 years, for more than 20 years, because it was never okay, because she never knew when she would get the next role that could pay the bills. So she just stayed in the same neighborhood. Even after she was famous, she still stayed in the same neighborhood because it was so inconsistent. There is a price to pay for greatness. And none of us have arrived here easy. None of us, most of us, yeah, sure, we have skated into it. I'm streaming on YouTube, by the way. Hey, hey everybody. So my channel on YouTube is mine, Harriet Cammock, so you can find me. So none of us got here just so. We got here because someone paid the price. So on today, say thank you. It could have been your mother. It could have been your aunt. It could have been, for me, it was the women who went before me, right? And it's even the women today whom I partner with. There's so many women across the Metro Detroit community, especially women who are ethnic and women of color who reach out to me, who are not native to Detroit, but who live here and who have reached out to me as we gather together and partner, right? So International Women's Day, yes, it's a thing. It was started by the United Nations in order to focus on the plight of women. And even here in America, even as I can sit here and you can sit and watch me, right? In freedom, without fear, without favor, right? There's still women in other parts of the world who can't. There's still women for whom getting a pan of water is a daily challenge. Women for whom having a period is more than an inconvenience. Women who are in war zones, who when they have periods develop develop infections. People still have sex with them and give them sexually transmitted diseases. Are you hearing me? So even whilst we celebrate the fact that we can celebrate International Women's Day, let us also take time to pause for women in parts of the world who this morning had to figure out, well, what are we going to do for breakfast? I don't have anything. Women for whom they have no money to go buy food, their resources are limited. It's not just in Africa, people. It's in rural China. It's in rural India. It's in rural Pakistan. It's in rural Egypt. It's women in all parts of the world, in rural Turkey, for whom life is a daily struggle. I've sat in forums where I've heard from women in other parts of the world where even when poor women marry, it's still a problem because they marry invariably and still end up being battered, still end up being violated, and sometimes even killed. Here in the United States, we have similar circumstances, especially for women in rural settings and women in urban settings. Yes, we are a first world country, and yes, we have advances, but there is not enough of the trickle down effect, if you get what I mean. For women to get rid of some of the everyday variances that afflict common everyday life, they have to move into larger urban centers. and they have to be devoid of family, right? And what they're used to develop new to in order to live, right? So they move to larger cities, larger what we call urban centers, and in order for them to live normally, what we consider to be normal, running water in the home, there's still parts of the Appalachians where that is a problem, people. There's still parts of the Appalachians where people don't have a job that they can go to every day that provides an income so they can lift themselves out of generational poverty. Women are the issue. We are the issue. The plight of women has to be fundamental, has to be tabled, and has to be expressed. The fact that they're even for our leaders or women leaders to still suffer from sexism and racism is still a problem. We still are not seen as having a valuable contribution to make. That our roles are still confined to the fact that we are nurturers, so we carry babies and nurse babies, and the fact that we in the home we prepare the food. And if you don't believe me, just go into any gathering, no matter who is there, no matter what. After a while, even if she's a governor or the first lady, after a while, the first lady of the state or so, after a while, all the women tend to gather where the food is, right? And somehow we always end up doing what? Serving. And even when we're wearing different roles and we're wearing different robes and our robes tell us what roles we play, we still are we still are women. So take it with a grain of salt. And my thing is take it with a grain of salt, keep it moving. Pick your battles, the battles that you need to fight, save your energy for those battles, and ignore the distractions, ignore the little people who are trying to get in front of you, right? So we need to today just take time out to celebrate you. And if they didn't take you out for dinner this evening, you have their credit card, don't you? Right? You still have their credit card? Okay. So when this broadcast is over, what are you going to do? You're going to go have a latte, or you're going to have a slice of chocolate cake or a brownie, and you're going to say cheers to great women. I am one of them, right? Give yourselves a clap. And men, give us a shout out. All you men, you benefit from us. You enjoy us as your companions. You enjoy our comforts. You enjoy our conversations. You enjoy our counsel. You enjoy our friendship. You enjoy our love. And the fact that we bring something else to you that gives you some satisfaction as you get up every day to go out and face the world and deal with the world, that you know at the end of the day, you're coming home to peace and safety and sanctity and somewhere where you are loved and affirmed. Give all the women in your lives a shout out. And don't forget your moms, right? My mom isn't here. For International Women's, it would just be like, what are you going to eat? Right? So today I want to talk about, and isn't that the most interesting thing? And while we're giving women shout out and so on, I want you all to give Gayle King from CBS News a shout out. Don't you think Gayle deserves a medal? Gayle deserves a medal for enduring what must have been the most intense hour of an interview ever. That's an epic interview. That's at the end of this year. That is going to stand out as one of the most epic interviews of 2019. Mark my words. Gayle King's interview, Gayle King of CBS, who interviewed R. Kelly. I swear to you, there is a meme going around when someone is just going crazy, just sit there and say, Robert. That's the new word to tame everybody. So if you're in a mall or something and there's a mass shooter, just be quiet and say, Robert. Robert. That will calm anyone down. Gayle King deserves a special shout out for keeping calm under those circumstances where R. Kelly was obviously very, very disturbed when confronted by the fact he now realized that the public has now judged him and the public doesn't like it. And to see, for years, he kept thinking that he was right and that we all were wrong and everybody else was wrong. But now in that interview, he saw where he could lose his life. When he says he could lose his life, he's talking about his freedom, and he's talking about his life as he knows it. Because if he's not generating income, he's going to be a regular Joe Blow with a felony, and he's going to be behind bars for some time. It is what it is. You know, my youngest daughter has a saying. She says, when you do clownery, the clown will come after you. The clown will come for you, right? And that is exactly what is going on. So shout out to Gayle King for handling all that, and pray for those young girls. What do you all think about those young girls with R. Kelly, who think that they're having whatever, they're having sex, or they have. Gayle said, "Is this a menage a trois or what? Are you just like having sex here, or what are you doing?" They're like, "Well, we're not going to talk about our sexual relations publicly, but we are friends." Okay, so they're young, they're 21 and 23, so they haven't developed the emotional maturity yet to see the consequences of their actions. But you and I know that there's a book deal in their future, right? Yeah, there is a book deal in their future, and and there's a book deal coming. I don't know what else to say. I don't know what else to say, people. There's a book deal in their future. Don't you see that in a Lifetime special? How I Survived R. Kelly. I was his mistress. I was his sex slave. I was his whatever. It's gonna be something. Lord Jesus, Michael Wilson. Good morning. Why do you? Michael Wilson calls me Kiki Palmer, and I keep forgetting to find out who is Kiki Palmer. Who is Kiki Palmer? Is that someone I should know? Is that a name I should know? I don't know why you keep calling me Kiki Palmer. Tell me, share with me. Um, so it's the most. This has been the week of something else. So today in Metro Detroit is the warmest day. You know what the temperature is? 22 degrees, and that's warm. So my eyes are hurting, right? My eyes are hurting. Good morning. Because it's still 22 degrees and they're talking about the warmest day so far. Oh, save me, Jesus. Oh, crocodile tears and all. Really? 22 degrees? Come on. It's supposed to be springtime. Bring it on. Oh my goodness. I'm so over it, people. I'm so over it. So it's Friday. So if it actually turns out to be warm, then the folks are going to turn up at the club. Because there is nothing quite like cabin fever. And I believe that the police and so on probably enjoy this time of year because it's quiet. There's not much crime going on because it's too cold for people to be out. Hey, Facebook, doesn't that tell us something? Doesn't that tell us something, Periscope? Yeah, tell me something about that. Doesn't that tell us all something? That if right now, if during winter we have less crime, maybe that's why they're keeping it cold for so long, because people are less inclined to go out and rob or go out and murder and shoot and pillage and so on. Yesterday on our show, we talked about Detroit 911. We talked about the amazing statistics where people call 911 and sometimes we're on hold for 60 minutes and one person bled out and so on. Kiki Palmer, she's a journalist? I've never heard of her. Oh, she's an actress. Ah, okay. Thank you. Are you related to her? You're promoting her? You're related to her? Okay. Right? So what? So I want to know if the police are saying, maybe the police went upstairs to God and dialed heaven, 1-800-HEAVEN. Hello? Mr. Father, Mr. God, this is the Detroit police. Yes, we just want to tell you, if you can turn up the cold a little, it kind of keeps the folks down here calm for the next few weeks. So give us another dose of that winter. I'll see what I can do. I think that's the conversation that took place, because during this time there are not as many felonious attacks. Because when I looked at the statistics, I saw that there was a spike in August during the warmer months, and we all know that the folks come out. First of all, when it gets warmer, the first thing that comes out are the dudes playing the music. Why does no one play their music when they're driving? I mean, you're driving up the street and all you hear is boom, ba-da-dum, ba-da-dum, and I'm like, huh? So I need to get mine together. right? So we know that I'm trying to just add some levity to this conversation here, right? Because we're going to talk about rejection and how to handle it. So I want you all to laugh with me before we get into that, because this stuff is serious, right? But just think about it. I think, don't you think the police called 1-800-HEAVEN and begged the God and said, Mr. God, Mr. Father, please, can you do something? And God was just like, I'll see what I can do. And then he told Jesus and the Holy Spirit, hey, the police down in Detroit, they want to turn the cold up. You want to go do something about it because they're killing each other down there. And I'm tired. I'm sick and tired of hearing people pray about this violence ending. So why don't you just fix it so they don't do anything? And Jesus and the Holy Spirit are like, okay, we'll do what you say. As you say it, so let it be done. So then the rest of us are down here like, oh, it's so cold. I can't even go outside, dude. I can't even go outside. And God is like, I can't win. I can't win. I can't win. You know what? Just deal with that. I swear that's the conversation that took place. So shout out to God for keeping us during one of the worst winters ever. Like seriously, I thought if I stood outside for more than a minute, I thought last week, I think it was this past week, Monday, I had to go downtown. People were walking downtown in some puffer coats. I don't see in the stores. I was tempted to stop and ask them, well, where you got your coat? I mean, I saw puffer coats, y'all, like coats that were puffers. And I was going to say, I don't see those in the stores. Where do you think? Do you think they are special order those? People had stuff with their nose and their faces wrapped. All you saw were eyes. Right? And they had to cross the streets like to go to the parking centers to go get their cars. I was like, thank God for covered parking. Because when I went, I had to go to the Coleman Young building, where the city offices are. You would believe me, I was sweating bullets crossing the street. And then I had to go to where the county building is. And I had to park across the street. By the time I got across the street, my feet felt like, something. And I was like, oh God. I was like, Jesus, please, I'm begging you. It was cold this winter. It was cold, which tells me we're going to have a very hot summer. So watch out. We'll be melting. So today I want to talk about rejection. So I want to talk about it from the perspective of how do we handle rejection? Because it's been coming up before me for a couple of weeks now, and I've resisted the urge to talk about it because sometimes I think, how many times are we going to have this conversation, and how many times are we learning or are we not learning? And the reason I'm saying it is because this morning it's been coming up before me in my own life, where I sometimes think that people don't understand that you as a person has a choice. I think if someone likes you and feels that they want to be with you, they overlook your personal choice in the matter, that you have a choice in the matter, that your choice in the matter might be, I don't want to be with you, or I don't want you. But some people become so obsessed that they think that the fact that they like you, that's enough. So they like you, so they're going to override your feelings and override your wishes, override what you want. And then when you don't respond the way they do, then they become nasty, right? So I am saying, well, how are we handling rejection? First of all, I like Brad Pitt. Do you see me calling out Brad Pitt and taking pictures with Brad Pitt and trying to push myself into Brad Pitt's life? No, right? I like everybody, right? Just like you. But why is it that some of us seem to take it to the next level? We escalate. Why when we like someone? Let me give you a story. So I'm watching this special. It's going to be on 48 Hours tomorrow. And this happened 30 years ago in South Korea. Two American women, one is a lesbian, one is not. One went there thinking she was doing something good for society. So she went as a peacekeeper, the Peace Corps. And so she volunteered to teach English to South Koreans at a South Korean school, South Korean children at a school, right? And this other girl is also an American. She was also a volunteer, right? And she began to push her desires on the woman. And the girl did not respond. The girl was not a lesbian. She was not interested. And so she killed her. She stabbed her 30 times. That was 30 years ago. So her family, the family of the dead woman, never set it to rest. But the law says that even though it's two Americans, because the crime was not committed in the country, then the state doesn't have a voice in it. So they're trying to get the law changed where if you kill an American overseas and you come back home, you can be tried for it. So the woman who killed her, she returned to Seattle, to Washington State, and is now a guidance counselor. Is that fair? She's living her life like nothing happened 30 years ago and is now a guidance counselor. Go figure. And when I saw the story, it kind of pushed up before me all the folks that believe they suffer from rejection. All the folks for whom somebody else telling you that I don't want to be with you and I don't want you just serves up something else. I'm watching this, I binge watch stuff on Netflix, right? So I'm watching this Turkish drama on Netflix called Burned Cocoon. And in one of the stories, one of the sons, they're wealthy people. And this other girl, her grandparents know them. But she looked at the guy and she went to medical school. She came back. So she decides she wants a man. So she's choosing a man whom she wants. Now she saw the guy and they grew up together. He didn't really like her. He didn't like her like that. But she went away, got herself together and so on, just so she could come back and win his affection. But then she was dating other people. But when she saw him with this pretty girl, she went ballistic. So she did everything she could to get this guy. And even though he kept telling her, I don't want you, I don't love you, I love someone else, she never stopped. She never stopped. She's even pretending to be pregnant, pretending everything. And then because of the customs, the family have to get married to save their good name. Then she's pushing him. And everybody's like, how do you want to be with someone who doesn't love you in this day and age? Right? And this is what I'm talking about. So many women and men, especially I'm a woman, so I can only talk about what happens between women and men, right? So I can talk about same-sex relationships. But from what I gather, they have the same characteristics that heterosexual relationships happen. It's just that they like someone of the same gender, right? So I wanted to just ask you all, why is it that rejection bothers us so much? First of all, I just want to know, because I want to know if someone says they don't feel badly. It happens to all of us. We've all been there where someone we desire or someone we want or someone we love doesn't feel the same way with the same level of intensity that we do. And what do? Rejection is a heck of a thing, right? I have felt rejection. I've told you my stories on dealing. That's why I wrote Through the Fire and now After the Fire, right? How do you deal with rejection? When someone says they don't want you, what do? Because what I'm finding is that in today's world, people are not accepting of that, right? In today's world, when a woman tells a man, I don't want to be with you, or he makes overtures, this is the one that gets to me. Now, I feel like this, right? And you feel the way you do because you're an individual, right? And I feel like if I want to be with you, I'm going to let you know. But if I have not given you access or let you know that, yes, I would want to go out with you or be with you, then I think you need to respect my boundaries, right? Just like a man will talk to a woman, but you know how men are, they're hunters. So the minute a woman starts talking to them, what do? They don't like it. Isn't that the truth? Right, they run. They like to be the ones who are doing the pursuing. And men don't like creepy women who stalk them or show up at their at their work or show up at their homes and slash tires and stuff like that. So that's how some people deal with rejection. I just walk away, y'all. I don't have time for you. You get the gift of my silence to you is a gift. Receive it. I don't have time. I don't have the time. But that's me, right? How do others deal with rejection? And what is it about rejection that defeats us, that we take so personally and so hurtfully that we have to go and hurt someone? Do you realize that when you listen to stories of mass shootings, there's a theme that is running at the back of it? You know why they end up saying that they're mentally ill? Guess. Because they're operating on rejection. Listen to what most mass shooters say, especially the ones in schools. What do they say? I was not with the popular crowd. The popular kids didn't like me. They didn't invite me into their group. I liked that girl, but she didn't like me. Have you ever listened to it? It's called rejection. It's just like this girl here in Warren, Michigan, who stabbed her classmate, the 17-year-old, who was killed back in the fall, right? Early fall in September of last year. Very painful. That's what you call rejection. The other girl, who is not attractive, looks at the younger, it looks at they're the same age, looks at the pretty girl and thinks the pretty girl is getting all the boys and probably getting a boy she likes. So she looks at the pretty girl and thinks, if I eliminate the competition, then that boy will like me. The boy probably talked to her, but wasn't going to go where she wanted it to go. Rejection. She ended up killing the other girl. You know, that's what rejection does to people. It drives people nuts and drives people crazy. So I just want to try to figure out, why is it that it is so deep and so intense that it causes you to tip over the block? Because here's the thing, we all have encountered some form of rejection in our lives or not. It starts from the day we are born. Lord have mercy. How many times you reach for your mom and she says, not now, I'm busy? That's rejection. So what do? You go in a corner and cry until mommy comes to you? No, you wait until mommy is done doing what she's doing. Then she's going to come and get you. That's supposed to be the lesson for life, right? As we grow older, we learn that there are some people, as I say all the time, who come into our lives for reasons and seasons. Some people are not meant to be here permanently. Ladies, there are some men who pass through your lives. Get over it quick, fast, and in a hurry, and let them go. Hello, men, same thing with you. Know the difference between a hookup and a lifetime. There are some people who just come in for a hookup. Please let them go. Don't let that hook stay too long. It's a hook up. It will drop hook down. Let them go. And what happens is we don't learn the difference between people. So what we do is we spend way too much time, way too much energy on people whom we should not give attention to. Ladies and gentlemen, for the love of God in Christ Jesus, if someone wants you to be in their life, they're going to make the time for you. They're going to make the space for you. Trust me, there is nobody too busy who does not want you to be. So the minute they're not giving you their time, give them the gift of your absence. Get rid of them out of their lives. Out. Don't call me. Don't text me. I am too busy for you. Because sometimes some people play games with other people, right? They know that they really don't want to be with someone. They know they really don't want them, but they know the person is vulnerable to their attention. And they play with people and manipulate people's emotions and people's feelings. And that's when they get hurt. Because when that person becomes aware that all they were to them was a plaything, then they're going to act out and then they're going to do stupid, silly things. Do you see where I'm coming from? We all have a role to play in it. If somebody is on you just because they're crazily obsessed and they're stalking you, that's a whole different thing. But dude, don't go there if you know all you're going to do is to have a good time for one night, knowing that she's looking for a lifetime, and expect that you're just going to walk away unhindered. It's not going to work. Similarly, ladies, know who you're with. There are some men. Can I just give you all? You should be clapping right there. That's a good point for which you should give me a shout out, right? There are some men, ladies, whom you should never have anything to do with. Read my lips. There are some people who come into our lives. You should never have anything to do with them. You should never give them your phone number. Ladies, the guy who comes to fix your door, fix your car, is that someone for you to end up in a relationship with? He comes to fix your car, your door, or whatever. That's a different kind of relationship. Don't let it go any further. Because sometimes what you're doing, you're inviting stuff in that is not supposed to be there. There is a place and a time for everything. And sometimes you get caught up. This is how, my goodness, this is how stuff happens to people, right? For instance, I heard a story the other day. This was years ago. This was one of the freakiest, weirdest stories I have ever heard, right? And in this story, I heard about, I think it was a football player who he was seeing this girl, and the girl was going to see him. Why she was stupid enough to take her friend, I don't know, but she took her friend. When he had finished having sex with her, the friend went in the bathroom, took the condom, the used condom, and used a turkey baster to insert the sperm into her and had a baby for the football player. The guy went berserk. Obviously, what she wanted was him as a baby daddy so she could get money from him forever. What a low life. Yes, that is low life behavior. That is unseemly. Ladies, come on, we can do better than that, right? Talk to the young women around you. So you're all community leaders. Talk to them, would you? I can't reach them. They're never going to hear from me. They're never going to listen to people like me, but they'll listen to you because you're closest to them, right? And they're just going to look at me and say, well, you can say that because, no, I'm saying it because it's not healthy for you. And then you go to court and you drag someone through child support, expecting him to acknowledge you. He didn't go there for that. That wasn't what that was about. Have something about yourself, for crying out loud, right? You can't just do that to yourself and to the children. Well, what kind of lessons are you teaching the children? What are you telling the children about the circumstances surrounding their birth? Do you see where I'm going with this? We have to learn to deal with rejection. There are all types of rejection, right? But I'm especially talking about this form of rejection in relationships and intimate partner relationships. Then I'll go and talk about the ones when you go work and whatever, right? How do you deal with this? If you want to be with someone who doesn't want to be with you, guess what? You don't want to be there. You should not want to be there. Why would you put yourself, all that you are, all the greatness that is in you, at the feet of someone who is likely to hurt you? You can't give people that kind of emotional power over your emotions. You shouldn't give people that. For them to know, you can tell if they want you. When someone wants you, they make time for you, right? We say that all the time. And some people even say, well, a man gives the gift of his time. A man's time is divided into many things. Ladies, do you have time like a man does? No, nobody has time. Everybody is busy and running around trying to make life. So nobody really has time. So the stupidness about if a man wants you, he'll give you the gift of his time. First of all, the question I'm asking is, what does he do for a living? Does he work? Does he have a business? Where does he find time from? Okay? That's the thing. That's the key to it. So what I'm saying is, if someone does not want you, walk away. Hello, walk away. Keep your dignity and your self-esteem intact. Walk away. Don't try to plead with them to say, please, I'm a good person. I'm this. I have this credit. I have that credit. I have this bank account. I am this. I'm that. I'm Dr. So-and-so. I'm so-and-so. Walk away. Because there's something about wanting someone that is deep and intrinsic. It comes from a desire to want the person. And the man will tell you, yeah, I want many people. Does he really desire everybody? Oh, he just probably just sees something and just say, yeah, I'd like that. I'd like to be with her, right? But you can't judge your life, ladies and gentlemen, based on someone's desire for you. You can't let that be your guiding light or what's so important to you. It cannot be. It has to be. This is why I say all the time, build yourself up so that you are so full that whether or not someone wants you is irrelevant. If they want you, fine. If they don't want you, keep it moving and get your negative karma out of my space. That's how you are to be. I do not have time. A couple of weeks ago, I was on LinkedIn, right? Now, in my communication and language, there's nothing about me that communicates that I'm soliciting anybody. This dude, in his arrogance, decides that he needs to solicit me. So I said, okay, I'm going to play his game. Because just because I don't talk about something or just because I look single doesn't mean that I want everyone, right? So this dude decides that he's going to talk to me. So he's an attorney, practices somewhere in Detroit, in Metro Detroit somewhere, as if I'm supposed to be impressed by that. He's talking to me. So I'm like, uh-huh. Have you been married? Yes, once. No children? Children, no. Oh, I like to ask people questions. No. Okay, how old are you? Then he said he was 57. I'm like, wow, 57 and no children. What were you doing all your life? Anyways, so he said, I'm just, I would like to take you out. I said, hold up, hold on. I said, thank you very much for thinking of me. How kind of you to think of me. But I'm not dating at this time. And he said, why? I said, because people are players and people like to play with people's emotions and play with people. And I don't engage in drama, nor do I engage in playing. So I don't need to go out to dinner because I'm really not hungry. And he said, ouch. And I said, well, thank you anyway. First of all, he crossed the line. He didn't find out if I would be inclined to go out with him. He said, I'd like to take you out to dinner. So you're going to say, well, what was wrong with that approach? How about talking to me first to find out where my headspace is? How about trying to find out if I'm in a relationship or not? Because just because I don't say I am doesn't mean I'm not. Do you see what I'm saying? So that was his first mistake. He should have had a conversation. But no, in his arrogance, this is what I'm saying, people. In his arrogance, he assumed that just because he thinks he's great and he thinks he's all that and he likes me, then I should jump on his bandwagon too and like him too. So then he gets shut down and is going to have an attitude. And I'm laughing. Like, why are you having an attitude? I didn't invite you in. I didn't tell you I wanted to talk to you. I didn't tell you I wanted to go out to dinner. I'm not with you. I don't know you. I don't care. Do you see where I'm coming from? And so many times, some of the rejection we encounter is because we place ourselves with people who don't want us. Let's just be clear. They don't want us. It's a personal thing, right? It's either, ladies and gentlemen, it's either, my friends, it's either you like someone or you don't. Right? Sometimes we like people a lot. There's some people around me, I don't want to name names. I really like them. I like them as a person. So if they call me and they say, hey, I'm going to be in town on such and such a date, or I'm going to so and so, a group of us are going, would you like to go? And I'm like, heck yeah. Because I like being around them. I learn and, you enjoy their company. But there's some people whom never in a million years you would go out with. Why on God's green earth do we continue to push ourselves onto people? It's a personal thing. If you don't like someone, you don't like them. So you're never going to want to be with them. So why should I? So let's say I like some guy, like this lawyer guy, whoever he was. I can't even remember his name. And I have to go through my LinkedIn messages, right? Let's say that I liked him and I wanted to be with him, but he doesn't like me or want to be with me. But I like him, so I'm going to be like, and play all the games that people play. But then when you check it out, after he goes out with you a time or two, he really didn't like you from the beginning, so he really wasn't going to be there permanently. So after a time or two, don't feel badly when he doesn't answer your texts or phone calls. Let me tell you all something. One of the worst things that was invented is this text messaging thing in relationships where people break up through a text message. We got to stop this stuff. You are killing people. You're sending people to kill themselves. You realize that a lot of people are offing themselves because they can't get to what they want, right? They can't get whom they think they should be with. So people take them for a ride. And some of you guys are saying, oh my God, Harriet, you're not listening. Women are not listening to what we say. We do tell them what we want. Guys, sometimes your delivery is a little bit callous. Sometimes you are cold and callous. Yes, you are. You can't just tell people you want to have sex with them only, and that's all you want. And you tell them that's all you will ever want. But then you're out there with Mary, Sally, and sometimes Tom. Oh, I'm hanging with my boys. You having sex with your boys? I am just saying we need to be with, I say this all the time, surround yourself with people who celebrate you and not those who tolerate you. Even in relationships, people, even in intimate partner relationships, if you're going to be with someone who does not want you, for goodness sake, walk away. You have way too much going for you. Walk away. There are too many people who will want to be with you, right? This, hello, you're saying women should work in the kitchen. Are you going to pay them to work in the kitchen? I just want to know, right? Someone over here on YouTube is saying women should work in the kitchen. Oh no. Okay. So what's up with women should work? I am just saying that all of us have a stake in this. I have a stake in it. You have a stake in it. Be with people who want to be with you. Find them. They are out there. If you're always going out with the same kind of people, reassess yourself. Ask yourself, why am I always surrounded by people, by men, intimate partners who don't like me? Start doing the work of cleansing your chakras inside of you to see what it is that you are maybe contributing to. Because maybe there are some people who like you, but maybe they are afraid to come forward, or maybe you're not sending out the right signals. Because in today's world, a lot of men think that they have too many. You ever hear men talk? They think they have options. You know, when they say they have options, what they mean? What they mean by that when they say they have options is they have options. I don't have to be with you if I don't want to be because there are 100 women waiting on me to call them. You know what you do? You take yourself a move as far as the east is from the west. Since you have that many, you are a walking case of a sexually transmitted disease or hepatitis A. Thank you for telling me goodbye. That's what you do with them. And you have that conversation with them because that suggests that you're irresponsible. There are a lot of things I should do, but I don't do. Right? But if someone is going to tell you he has options, walk away. Don't be part of his options list. Leave him alone and walk away. And when you do walk away, stay away. Don't go to his house. Don't call. Don't text. Don't show up. Leave it alone. Focus on what you are doing. Focus on making yourself the very best you, and the right person is going to find you. And you will be a magnet for the right person. That's the key, is becoming the magnet. You know, you hear all these things about the laws of attraction, and they make it sound so riveted in stone, but there are variances to it. It simply is we need to do the work on ourselves to clean ourselves, cleanse our emotions, so at all times we are the best versions of ourselves. And sometimes, honestly, if you're going to be in a relationship with someone that is going to be painful and hurtful, you probably shouldn't be there. It probably is not worth the time and effort, especially if you are subsisting on your own. And that's where a lot of us find ourselves. We can't be bothered with the hassle. We want peace when we go to bed at night. We want to be able to live our lives in peace. And there is no peace when you're with someone who has multiple partners. There is no peace because you're constantly wondering, he's not with me because he's rejected me. And rejection is very damaging. Oh, you're not joking. Okay. Women should work in the kitchen. You're not joking. Okay. Right? Rejection hurts. And rejection is damaging. And let me tell you how damaging rejection is. Rejection affects the way you feel about yourself. It affects the way you see yourself. So much so that guess what you're not going to do? You're not going to function at peak capacity. You won't be able to function because you're constantly seeing yourself in the limited form that that person left you in. I'm going to put myself in the center of the story. It's me, right? So I'm going to talk about me. My ex-husband, when he beat me up and then I ran away, I deemed that what? Rejection. Because if he had loved me like he said he did, he would not hurt me because love does not hurt, right? So I deemed it as rejection. Now, I could have sat there and let his rejection of me define how I feel about myself and how I think about myself, but I chose not to. I moved right on along and got myself fixed so that I'd never have to feel that way again. And sometimes men say they don't like strong women. Well, you don't know my story. You don't know the things that I've had to go through. You don't know the things that I've had to deal with, why I had to be myself. And I say that because I'm hearing it. It's like it's coming and coming and coming. I was in a police station a couple of days ago filing a complaint, and the conversation I overheard was the same thing. Why did he do this to me? Why did this have to happen? And I looked at her with, I felt her, right? And it's the same, and even the cops were looking like, man, you owe yourself much better than this. Do you see where I'm coming from? Ladies and gentlemen, trust me. When people want to leave, let them go. They want to go, oh, so you think your life will be better without me? I thank you. I appreciate you telling me that. No, let me move on and stay away. You'd be surprised how that same one who thought their lives were going to be better without you, how they come right back, snap right around. All you have to do is just sit there and be you all day in the shade. Trust me, if it is meant to be, it is going to be. All kinds of stuff can happen, but at the end of the day, what is meant to be will be. And there are some people who simply are not there. And we're talking about intimate partner relationships now, right? We're talking about intimate partner relationships, right? There are some people who are just simply not meant to be a part of our permanent story. Let them be. Let them go. And walk away and focus on you. Promise yourself to be so strong that them leaving you does not disturb you. Don't dwell on it. Don't think about it. Give yourself 24 hours to cleanse yourself of that negativity. Because frankly, it's not worth your breath. It's not worth your time. It's not worth your energy, your mental and emotional energy. Anyone who walks away from you, they're not worth your time nor your energy. Let them go. You want to do this so bad? You are nothing to me. Go. That's how you have to be, because if not, what happens is you die slowly. You start thinking you are no good. You have nothing better to give. Something is wrong with you. Especially if you've had a few of these, you slip into a depression that you can't get out of. Then you start thinking life is not worth living. Just because some person, ladies and gentlemen, look at the people who we're running from. Look at the people who are rejecting us. You should open your eyes. The question you should ask is, what earth-shaking event have you contributed to this planet that I should feel that my life is not worth living because you don't want me? And honestly, true confession, true confession, true confession. I have loved someone. So it's not like I don't know what it is like to love somebody. I have loved. But there comes a point at which, if it is not working for my good, then let them be. They want to move on, go ahead. Have fun. I am not your options. Do you see where I'm coming from? And we have to find this space. You have to pull yourself together Too many women and men fall into depression when someone walks away, right? I'm not talking about when you're in a relationship and he cheats and then you leave and he dares to fall into depression. Why should he fall into depression? He knew what he was doing when he lifted up himself and go be with some other woman. He knew this was going to be the cost, right? Right? So I don't, that is not a thing for me. But I'm talking about when someone looks at you and tells you, they don't want you. I don't want you. Ladies and gentlemen, those are some very damaging words. At all costs, try to avoid putting yourself in a position where someone whom you have been intimate with tells you that. Try your very best, right? You might be in a marriage for some time, and then your spouse comes home one day and tells you, I don't want you. I've moved on. I've met someone else. Wow. After how many years of marriage? It's so personal because what their actions are telling you is that there is nothing about you that you, the person, they just reject everything about you. And it is hurtful. It's very painful. It's a process to extricate yourself out under. And a lot of people are walking around in brokenness because someone rejected them so personally. I can't seem to get off this. I want to move on to the other forms of rejection. And I can't get away from this because I feel like there are people who are hurting. And you probably saying, well, it was 5 years ago. Well, how are you today? How are you? How do you feel when you see them posting pictures on Facebook of them with their new love? Because people just love doing that kind of stuff. People are so ignorant of what they do to others. People have been with people for years and then walk in and tell them, I don't want you anymore. You remember that designer who killed herself last spring, I think it was, Kate Spade? She had, oh man, she had everything going for her. Yeah, she did. She had money. She could have gone and gotten a new face, new butt, new breast, new everything, a new body, and then come back out again. But she was so stuck on the first 24 years of her marriage, where she was with that man, and the energy and the kinetic energy and creative energy that it produced, she got stuck in that and felt that the only way life could be lived was existing in that. And he had moved on. He wanted to be with someone else. But the rejection of herself, she viewed it as rejection of herself. She fell into a depression from she was 49 when he first asked her for a divorce. And he was gentle with her, like he didn't immediately push for a divorce because she asked for it. She said, our daughter is young, wait a few. But he was intent on leaving her anyhow. And even if he had not divorced, they no longer lived together. He was living with a person whom he wanted to be with. As far as I'm concerned, you just keep it moving. Go, Manhattan is a big place. Go buy, but when the circle is that small and you have the same friends, I would just go out and go buy a Brazilian butt, life butt, every kind of whatever, and just keep it moving. Right? And she had so much to give. She was still a very creative person, right? She had a wellspring of emotions. That rejection, you have to be careful of rejection. The day when she died, I was sitting at the mall. I was still grieving the death of my mother, and it was like the anniversary of it. So I was at the mall. I knew this day was going to come, kind of thing. So I was at the mall, and I was sitting right outside her store when I was on the phone with my brother because I was having that kind of day. And I was scrolling and saw the news, and I was like, wow. I was like, no way. And I turned and looked, and I said, look at all this woman has created. I'm looking at all her designs, and I'm remembering when her purses first came out, and I lived in Florida, how it was quite the thing. I lived in Orlando, and it was the thing to have Kate Spade's purses and so on. And I remember what it was like. And I'm like, you really are going to give up all of that? Sometimes we love someone so much that we become part of them, and we see ourselves so wrapped up in them that we have become one mentally, emotionally, right? and then we can't see a life outside of that. That is never true. That is never true, baby. We were not born as twins, right? And when you die, you and he don't have the same time of death. So you're not going to die together. And if you weren't born together, you're not going to die together, then you can live. And is it easy? No. There is a place where rejection hurts so bad that you may not even want to take your next breath. That's the kind of rejection I'm talking about. And that is why I'm saying we need to be careful about whom we invest our emotions in and whom we invest in. Be very careful, because some people have no idea of the value of your emotions because they themselves don't have emotions to value. They may not even love someone else more than you. They just don't know how deeply they are affected. They just don't care. Sometimes it's not about them loving someone else more than they love you, or loving someone else but they don't love you. Sometimes it's just they don't even, that's not a factor or a considering factor for them. I've been there. I tell you, I had issues with rejection. I had to work through it because the way I looked at it when they left me with children, that was rejection. Because he went and took up someone else. Yeah, and he married someone else. So it was like, okay. I kept it moving. I became myself. I said, you know something? I have things to do, and you're not important enough. So I'm going to do what I have to do. And within a year, he was back. And I'm like, well, what happened to the thing you left me for and went and married? And he's like, well, that's why I come back and ask you, what should I do about it? Because it didn't work. I'm like, so what am I? Your therapist? Your lawyer? No. Go figure that out. Click. Do you see? What if I were there? Oh my God, oh my God. No, no, no. Baby, no one is worth that time and space. Yes, we love people greatly. I'm someone who has experienced love for a man that I never thought I was capable of doing. But let me tell you something. I love myself equally. You know why? Because if I don't, people will hurt you. Hey, morning, Glendon. Right? And this is true for men and women, because men love. And when they love deeply. And men do love people, women, who they shouldn't be with. Women who take advantage of them. Women who hurt them. Women who let their boyfriends go kill them. Women who set up boyfriends to go kill some man who loves her, but she doesn't love him, but she wants what he has. So she sends her boyfriend to go do something, right? Or her trailer park friends or whatever. I'm just saying, these things happen all the time. We need to pay attention. If you meet someone, when you meet someone, you can tell right away how this is going to go. You can tell if this is someone you're going to spend time with, or this is someone who is not worthy of your time. And I'm feeling you right now. Who is it? Somebody. Inbox me. I'm feeling you. You're pulling on me. Because you're experiencing a great deal of rejection, and it really hurts. And it makes you question your reason for living. And it's making you can't even talk about it. That's how personal it is. Because no one would believe the person you've been with for so long does not want you. For somebody else, you might have been told recently by a spouse, an intimate partner, that they don't want to be with you anymore. And you're looking at everyone else continuing their lives. And how do you not notice how much pain I am in? Let me ask you this question. When was the first time you were rejected? This is not the first. Do you know why it is? Hold on. I'm not saying he didn't hurt you. I am saying to you, you have experienced a similar type of rejection in the past that is unresolved. And that's why this one is even hurting. It's compounding the hurt. So let's talk about when were we first rejected. Like I told you, I can't talk about your story because it's hurtful, and it is, right, Mr. James, Mr. Games, digital games, hey, right? But it goes back to a long place. Now, I didn't grow up with my father. So what does that tell me? He didn't value me. So that was rejection. Do you see? You see the minute I made the connection? I made that connection when I turned 25 and recognized that the reason I married the person I married was because I had a deficit in a relationship with my father. So I told myself to start looking out. By then it was too late. I was already married to a monster and couldn't just get up and walk away because you're married. You don't just get up and walk away. Okay? I started to work on extricating myself, but also to find out, now that I know why I'm vulnerable, what am I going to do about it? So I worked to make sure. But here's how life works. You can't govern your emotions all the time. You see that intimate partner feelings, the feeling you have to be with someone, you can't always control it. And love is a funny thing. You have no control over who you love. Man, he could be the walking epistle of everything. He's the antithesis of everything you believe in. That is unsafe. And that's who you find yourself loving. And when he or she walks away, that is the most painful, hurtful scenario ever. When you love someone and they don't want you, I'm not talking about infatuation. I'm not talking about desire. We're grown. We have all experienced love. Have you ever loved somebody? You do anything for them. If they say jump, you find yourself saying, how high? And when they walk away from you and tell you they don't want you, it's the most painful place to be. You don't want to breathe. You feel like you can't breathe. You feel like you can't live. You feel like you don't want to live. You feel like there's no matter what you are. And this was how I understood that woman, Kate Spade. And I could not dismiss her because I saw what she experienced was love and rejection. It was as if I loved him, but suddenly, for 24 years, my love was good enough. And then suddenly he rejected it because he found a different version, or he wanted to go experience something new, whatever. And that was what she couldn't reconcile. She said, I'm not strong enough for this. This one defeated me. I am saying to you, Lord, help us. I'm just going to hold up my hands. It's like you're touching me, right? Just touch me. Touch me. Touch me. Feel that? That's my love and my strength for you. Touch me. When I tell you I have been there and I have been delivered, and I'm here today as a living witness and a testament that you will make it and you will survive. Find your strength. Come on. Find your strength. Find your strength. Come back. It's okay to cry. It's okay. Bawl if you have to. Wail, scream, roll on the floor, throw stuff, whatever. But then when you're done, sit down. Make yourself a cup of coffee or a cup of tea. Put your lipstick on. If you're a girl, if you're a man, put your cologne on, brush your hair, and pull yourself together. Because you know what? You're the greatest. And tell yourself, I am the greatest, over and over and over again. And don't, when the question comes to you, then if you're the greatest, why did he walk away? That's how you know it's a lie. You know it's a lie because you are still the greatest. And the person who walked away is a loser. Why would they walk away from the greatest thing? Because they're a loser and you're too great for them. Sometimes people walk away when they can't experience all of what you are. They don't know how to handle it. They don't know, they want to control it and they don't know how to handle it. Sometimes people are just fools. They're listening to other people. Sometimes the person you want to be with is not subject to your influence alone. There are people around them telling them don't be with you because they want them to hang out with. They want them to continue living broken lives so they can have access to them. And you are sitting there and you're screaming that they're not hearing you. That is okay. You can't lose yourself in the midst of this. Don't lose you. Just sit and be still and get out pen and paper and write a letter to yourself. The reason I experienced this so deeply is that somewhere in my past, someone avoided me and rejected me, and it hurt me. You know something? If I had listened to my mentor, remember I told you 4 days before her death, what did she say? She said, go to therapy after her death. I didn't go to therapy after her death. 1996. You know when I went to therapy? 2001. Had I listened to her and went to therapy, I would have known right then and there that I should have left my ex-husband. I waited and didn't go to therapy, and then I got more beaten up. I could have lost my life. By the time I got to therapy, I was like, she was so right. Go to therapy. Go talk to someone. Let them help you work through the stuff that hurt you in the past, why you feel this way. Why? Because here's the thing. People do walk away from us all the time. It's a part of life. We're at a different time. It's like a different nexus. For it to work together, it's literally that the stars have to come together, right? So what happens is a different time. It's just not working. People walk away. Okay. But what happens is that we have this well of unresolved emotions that we haven't fixed. Something happened some time ago that we shut out. And here's the thing. Many of you say, well, I don't go to therapy. Therapy is for weak people. Well, that's why you still are in brokenness. When you see somebody married once, twice, 3, 4 times, they got issues they have not fixed. Because it's not like the rest of us haven't come to that point. No, we're just like, no. Right? But what happened is something happened that you haven't fixed. And it's created this deficit in you that's like a big hole. And when someone tells you no, you go down into that hole and it's staring at you and you fall into the hole and then you can't come out of it. Go fix. Go deal with the issue. Go deal with it. It's an issue. Go deal with it. Rejection is an issue. Go deal with it. And it often comes from some of the simplest things, like it could have been like there was a teacher who was important to you and you spent time on a project or whatever, and then the teacher gave it to someone else or graded someone else better or consistently liked someone else better. It could be a parent who rejected you, who was just never there and who just seemed to spend more time with another sibling, right? And they rejected you over and over and rejected your overtures. It could be anything that could cause this feeling of why you experience rejection the way that you do. I have 2 daughters, and I've talked to them so they understand themselves. I don't want them to experience some of the stuff that I had to go through. Most of the negative stuff I went through, I don't want my children to go through that or experience it. I'm like, Lord, please don't let them feel that. Because these things, they happen, right? Sometimes it's, and you'd be amazed in the conundrum of human emotions and the spectrum of human emotions, how things affect us. Things like a parent not wanting us, right? A parent not loving us, how that happens and how it plays out. It could be we were rejected by a group of people whom we wanted to join a group. It could have been a social group. It could have been a group at school, right? And they rejected you. There are different forms of rejection. It could be you went to work for a job, tried to be hired by a company and they rejected you, or you are, even when you're in their midst, they still don't let you hang out with them. Rejection, right? And rejection hurts. And if you don't deal with it, it becomes like something else and it will have a negative end. This is why we have to deal with it. This is why I'm taking time out to talk about it, because we only have a few more minutes left. Because it is that important. Because we carry it around. You look in people's faces and They want to invite you out, and the minute you say no, you see this feeling come over their face. It's almost as if they're anticipating being rejected. Why are you anticipating being rejected? It's not rejection, it's someone telling you no. You want to go out with someone who doesn't want to go out with you. That's not rejection. That's just them telling you, no, I don't want to experience you. That's not rejection. No, it's not. That is their choice. That's their elected choice to not be with someone they don't want to be with. That's a whole different thing. Do you see what I'm saying? So when you put it in the category of rejection, you're bringing all that stuff into it and you're overloading yourself. You know why we have people today with eating disorders? For some people, their fix is not drugs. Their fix is not alcohol. Their fix is not sexual promiscuity. For some people, their fix is food. You know why? Rejection, hurt. Someone dies and you view it as rejection. If they love me, they would have tried to stay here. Which you try to guilt trip the dead person. No. Yes, it does happen. This, again, the spectrum of human emotions. It's a spectrum. Pick your choose. It's like a smorgasbord. Pick your choice. Which one is it going to be today? Choose to be positive in every situation. Try to see the good in it. Even if there's no good in it, you say, man, this was going to be so bad. I'm glad I got out of it. And what some of us have done now in terms of our intimate partner relationships is that we look at things and you meet people because you still have hope that someday you're going to meet the right person, right? So you meet people and what you do is you hold yourself so that you don't have to experience any of the negativity. But my suggestion is this. If someone says no, it's not rejection. Don't view it as rejection. Simply view it as the wrong time and the wrong place to experience them. And you might be latched onto the idea that that was the perfect guy. You know, he was everything that I said I wanted to be. He was everything that, if he were the perfect person, he will come back. Because good people are hard to find. And a grown man is a grown man, right? A grown man is someone who sees something, and a grown man is someone who is going to either wait for it or he's going to recognize that there is some value attached to it. And what is he going to do? He's going to come back. Like I said, if it is meant to be, it will be. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to sweat. Just be you. Right? Just stand firm and be you, and it will be. That's all. That's all. All day, every day. Just stand firm and be you. Because what happens is that when we allow ourselves to fall into this negativity of emotions, we let ourselves collapse and fall into stuff that you can't come out of. Depression, people will tell you, is like a wave of darkness. It's like a cloud of darkness over you. It overlaps your thinking. It's heavy. It's a burden. Why get ourselves caught up in it? You see what I mean? So if you're going to go into a situation where you are most likely to experience this, walk away. I whispered it because it's that important. Walk away. Because what happens is that it does not portend to be well. And it's not worth it, y'all. It's not worth it. If you love someone, right, and you think they're worth it, take some time by yourself. Take some time to be you. Sometimes what we do is someone told us no, and we run into another relationship to what we're really trying to do is to make ourselves feel better about ourselves, that there's nothing really wrong with us, that we really are a good person and a great person, and so on. That is not the best way to deal with that. No, because it does not give you the feeling that you're looking for. The feeling you want to identify with is something good. You want to feel the way that person made you feel. The way that person made you feel, no one else is going to make you feel like that. So you might as well just accept that. So until you get that out of you, might take some time depending on you as an individual, then you just let it be. Just sit by yourself, work on yourself, and do the work within you. And believe me, the universe is open. The universe is watching you. How you handle yourself in it is going to determine your success. The universe is watching. And what is good for you will come to you. You have to get up every day and believe that. Trust in the Lord. The Bible says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not to our own understanding in all our ways. Acknowledge him and he will direct our paths. Trust, therefore. Trust God that he will work this out. Sometimes relationships and our emotions get so wrapped up and so caught up with people that we can't begin to imagine a life. Imagine if you've been married and you've been with someone for some time and suddenly it's kaput, it's nothing. Do you know what it does to you? Do you have any idea? You're like, oh my, and especially if you see that they're with someone else, you say, oh my God, so it was really me. And you internalize it to mean you. And you can't do that. No, it's not. No. It's not anything you didn't do. It's not that you didn't have sex right. It's not that you didn't do it right. It's not that you didn't make the meatloaf good. It's not that you didn't bake the cake good. It's not that you didn't keep the house good. It's not that you didn't. It's none of that. No, it's none of that. It is that at this time, in this space, it's not working for your good. And if it's not going to work for your good, either it's going to work out for your good at some point, or there is someone else who is better for your good. Either way, you are going to be okay. I can promise you that. Because the one thing I have learned in life, there is one thing that we all must do. One thing. Guess what it is? What is it? There's only one thing what you have to do. Guess what? Breathe. See that? That's the one thing you must do. Everything else is an elective. You must breathe. You can even delay peeing or going to the bathroom. You can say, I don't feel like getting up to go to the bathroom. But you must breathe. And as long as you accept the fundamentals, then you can deal with the variables. And I feel like because of the nature of love, we don't have any control over it. Would you believe? Hold on a second. What did they say? You're not going to believe this, right? I'm broadcasting on Twitter. And Twitter used my camera to take a screenshot of me. Did you hear what I said? I'm broadcasting on Twitter from my iPad. And I noticed that there was a flash. You see, I'm not touching it. Did you see my hands touch it? No? They took a screenshot of me. So they activated the camera and they manipulated the camera, the algorithm in their app manipulated the camera and took a screenshot of me. I'm done here. I'm so done. And you think the rest of you think this is all conspiracy theories where they tell you that there are cameras in your cable box and cameras in your phones that they can remotely activate. They just activated the camera. Wait until I tell my girls this evening. Freak out. That's why I don't take my cell phone into the bathroom. No, I don't. And this is me and my cell phone in my bedroom. Oh. Right? Close my iPad cover. Yeah. Turn off all my TV. Turn off all these screens. You're laughing with me, right? Can you believe that? Mr. Digital Games. Tell me, have you ever experienced anything like that? I mean, it took my breath away. Sometimes you ask me what's in that thing I'm drinking. I drink ginger in water. It helps my throat because you have to protect your throat because that's my instrument, right? So you have to keep your throat warm. So I'm drinking ginger water, right? So do you see what I'm saying? So uh I don't know how my phone is. I thought my phone was turned off, but hey, it was. I know I didn't turn. Oh, I know why. It's one of my favorites. So I am saying that we need to boy, I don't know. One of the things I have learned in life is to surround myself with people who truly believe in me. And I can't begin to tell you, it's times like these when you really need to know that you have some people, right? Always try to have people around you who really love you. I had to go through a series of life circumstances to find that. So when I found, I couldn't understand for years why I had two sets of siblings, my father's children and my mother's children. I could not understand why that was my situation. And I couldn't understand it until when my mother died and my mother's children acted out. And I had to separate myself from them. So now I was cut off from people I've known all my life. I'm the eldest one, but I've known them all my life. You know, they're siblings, right? You have a history together. So, but then they were my father's children, whom I also had a history with. So now I have this other set of siblings. So when they were acting crazy and they're acting crazy, I have another set of siblings like, so. So I have people in my life, and I had to work at this. Look at me. I had to work at this to make sure that there are people in my life who have my best interest at heart. So when my world is collapsing, or when I felt like there was no ground under my feet, I had someone who could tell me, hold on. I had people who told me to hold on. It's going to get better. It's coming together. It's going to get better. My prayers are with you today. Just hold on. People who all they did was just listen. Sometimes that's all you need. When you don't isolate yourself when you feel like this, call someone, reach out to someone. Sometimes you can just call the National Suicide Prevention Hotline just to hear, just for someone to listen. Just to listen to you is enough. You can unburden yourself. It's not like you're going to kill yourself, but if you can't find anyone else, find a total stranger. Call a prayer line. Call someone and let them hear what you have to say. Okay? Just pray. Just talk it out. Because what happens is when these things happen to us, sometimes we feel like we have no recourse. You see all these stuff in the news. We're getting ready to wrap up, so I only have I have 10 more minutes with you. When you see all this stuff in the news where people are losing their jobs and they're going postal, you know what that is? It's not just you're introducing a new reality to them that they will no longer be working, so they won't get paid, so they can't maintain their house, their cars, and their lives. It's rejection. You're telling them they're not good enough. You're separating them from a support system. So there is that conundrum. You're telling them they're not good enough, and you're separating them from a support system. You're separating from what they identify with that is a good part of themselves. And then you're cutting off their income. So they go crazy. And some people, in their ego, they forget sometimes when people are dismissing people from their lives, they become egotistical about it, right? You laugh at people's feelings. You make fun of people's feelings. Men, especially guys, you are guilty. When a woman loves you and she's walking away, even if you don't want her, do not laugh at her. Don't make fun of how she feels. Don't go to your buddies and your homies and sit down and ha 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 and have a laugh session like she's a joke, like she's not a human being who is hurting. It will come back on you. Karma is real. And one day you same guy are going to find yourself so in love with some chick who disgraces you, cheats on you in public, and you can't do anything about it because you are getting karma for what you did to someone else. Don't make fun of people. Rejection is somebody wants to go out with you, but you don't want them. Tell them, thanks for your time. Thanks for your attention. Thanks for thinking of me. But at this time, it's not something I'd like to do. I'm going to do for myself. And be nice about it. Yes, be nice about it, because you're telling them no, but telling them no at the time that makes it sound nice. So they don't go off themselves or come looking to off themselves and off you at the same time. Because you'd be surprised how some people think. Some people reach so high above a limb that they can't usually access, but they go up so high to pull it down. And when they pull that limb down to stare in their face, and they're looking in that face, they're like, are you kidding me? You don't want me? You think you're better than me? Walk away. Just walk away, people. Just back away. Don't turn your back. Just back off and back away. Because that's their fault. It's not yours. You had nothing to do with it. If they off themselves, you had nothing to do with it. They were the ones who tried to reach for something that you can't have. The air at the top is rarefied. There are certain criteria for existing in that atmosphere. You may not be qualified for it. You may not be able to stand the attention and the scrutiny. You're trying to be with someone who you can't be with because you can't stand the attention, the scrutiny up there. You can't deal with that. You're going to act out. You just can't handle it. So don't try to pull them down to your level. If you want to be with them, show them and get up there and exist in that atmosphere. That's a lesson. That's a lesson, right? Because so many times that's what we do, right? We meet people and we go down to their level. And then when you go down, you can't live in their perspective. Everything is so confusing because you're trying to fit into a mold that you don't belong in. You're trying to fit into a role that is not yours. You can't fit into that. There's a whole different thing about you. That's why I say be with people whom you're on even footing with. You think it's a joke, right? Be with people who you are on equal footing with, for the love of God. Choose people whom you're on the same intellectual wavelength with and you're on the same social strata with. Please don't go with people whom you're not. If you're here, why are you going to go date Bill Gates? That's never going to end well. The people around him are always going to treat you like the cocktail waitress. They're always going to treat you like the stripper or ex-exotic dancer. It was good for fun, but it's not good for permanency. Hello? So that's what I refer to as the hookup. So it's good for a hookup, but it's not good for a permanency. Do you see what I'm saying? So if you're going to go look for someone, find someone you're on equal footing with. You remember that singer Mary J. Blige? She married a guy, right? She thought she was doing something good. She married this guy, brought him up to her level, was out with him. And while she was performing, he was flirting with a server in front of her. Oh my God, she broke up with him that very night, never took him back. You know why? She learned the hard way. She ended up having to pay him child support. The same thing happened to the other lady, Cheryl Shepard. Remember her? Tore her career up because it disgraced her so much she couldn't even go back on the shows, talk shows she was on. You have to marry people you're on the same. So when they reject you later on, that's not rejection. That was lack of common sense. Be with people whom you're on the same footing with, for the love of God. Don't be with people because I'm lonely or because societal pressure forces you to, and says you have to have a man, or the next time you go to a family reunion or family dinner or family gathering, or you and your girlfriends whom you went to college with, you're the only one who is single. You know how many times I'm the only single female? Until I met Elaine Flowers, I was always the only single female in the group. Everybody else was always married. Everybody else always had someone, and I was the only single female. And I said, oh, you got to change this, baby. But in trying to change it, I'm not going to hurt myself by being with people whom I'm not on the same breath and level with. Do you see what I'm saying? What are we going to talk about? What are we going to do? We don't mix. We don't mesh. We don't triangulate. And we don't intersect. Boom. If there is no intersection in our lives, what are we doing together? Don't try to make it. It has to intersect naturally. And even sometimes when we intersect, it still doesn't work because there are other reasons. Sometimes people just don't want to give up the way they have been living for years. They get so used to their dysfunction, they're comfortable in it. Even though they know they have to make a change, they still won't do it because they don't want to. Do you see what I'm saying? So find your it and work with it. I'm made up in my mind. If I had to be single for the rest of my life, I was never going to put myself in a position where I was going to be in danger again. So if someone were going to come into my life and if they don't love me and they don't appreciate me, it's okay. I'm good. Either way, I'm going to be okay. So I don't mess myself up. You do realize when you just go from person to person to person, you're just messing yourself up. Because you're getting all convoluted with all kinds of people in front of your face. You don't even remember who you're talking to. You're having sex with all kinds of people. You're taking all kinds of people, bacteria into your mouth and onto your business. You see where I'm coming from? We don't think about stuff like that. Why get all that convoluted? Just wait, man. Cleanse yourself. Give yourself some time. Men and women alike. Yeah, men too. I know you feel like, that's the thing. You feel like you have to have sex, guys. You feel like you don't have to because you're in control of your body. So you can tell yourself, no, I'm not going to do that. But because you feel like, oh, a man has a need to. No, you don't. You're human. You know what you have a need for? Breathing. How about that? That's a novel concept. You have a need to breathe. You as a man don't have any more compelling need to have sex than a female human being. Let me just be clear about that. No, you don't. That's a societal pressure. That's convoluted thinking. And that is not scientific fact. You don't have any more need to have sex than a female human being. What you have is a compulsion directed by other males who tell you that a man must be. So you as a man have to say, you know what? It's too much stuff going on out here. Let me just chill for a minute by myself. Let me just be by myself for a while. Wouldn't that be something? A man who actually sits there and waits. Wouldn't it be something, you'd actually find the right person right there? Yes, you would, because you're clearer of mind. But when you are interacting with everyone, you have 7 days in a week, and 4 days out of that week, you have sex with 4 different people. How on God's green earth are you ever going to find the right person? You think you're going to find the right person changing them 4 days? No, you're not. You're confused. You listen to that one, this one. So you get to the point where you start okay, every Monday I do this one, every Wednesday this one, every Thursday this one. No, you're confused. You actually think you're doing well and you're smart. You are confused. There's no way you're going to get better out of that. You're not. You're going to hurt yourself. One day you go to the doctor, because the stress of it, that you don't even realize. One day you go to the doctor and they give you some bad news. And what you going to do then, Mr. Man, when they tell you and you look around and you realize not one of those people is the one who is going to come stay with you and wipe your butt while you're healing in the hospital, or bring you food, or come clean up the bathroom, or come clean up your house, or change the bed sheets when you mess yourself up. What you going to do then, Mr. Man? Stuff to think about. And the same thing works for women as well. Go from one man to the other. Same thing. And you think you're winning because you say, well, I have that one who does that one who does that one. God has a different outcome for you too. There's a different outcome. It's called ovarian cancer. What you going to do then? Which one of them going to sign the check when they tell you you need an extra treatment that your insurance doesn't cover? What you going to do then? When you need to be picked up, you're going to call an Uber or a Lyft. Who pays for it? Do you see what I'm saying? And that's why I say work on ourselves too. Take some time and be you. Work on you. There's nothing wrong with that. I got to go. It's time out. Time out for me. I gotta go. I seriously have to go. We have 2 minutes. Any questions? Any questions? Do you have anything to ask me? Okay, I'm waiting. Any questions? All right. This message has been a blessing to you. Go to my website, harrietcammock.com or the exodusfoundation.com. Pray for us here in Metro Detroit that we continue to experience warm spring-like weather for the love of God in Christ Jesus. Right? Be a blessing to us. Go to the exodusfoundation.com, make a donation, or you can always go to harrietcammock.com and be a blessing to us. Thank you so much. Buy my books, Musings of the Spirit, Through the Fire. My books are available on Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com. They're translated in over 30 languages of the world. So anywhere you are in the world, whatever language you speak, go to Amazon.com and click on me. Look for Harriet Cammock and Books by Harriet Cammock, and you will find that you can get my book translated into any language that you speak. I want to thank you so much for being a part of my experience on this Friday. We talked about a lot of stuff. And before we go, I just want you to do this. Look at me. We talked about something so heavy that my usual self-care practices have to come in when you leave this broadcast. Go call someone who loves you or someone you love. Tell them you love them. If you're walking past a baby on the street, greet the baby or hold the baby, right? Go eat something comforting or go cook something comforting, right? Eat chocolate. I'm about to do that. Eat chocolate and take a deep breath. Do this with me. Oh, exhale. Exhale. See, that's your new breath. That's your new life. For all the rejection, for all of it. Breathe and exhale. It is finished. It is finished. Go to harrietcammock.com and go to the exodusfoundation.com. Be a blessing to us. And thank you so much for being a part of my experience today. Thank you, everybody. Be blessed. Thanks, everybody. It was a pleasure. Thank you so much.